Okay, so you want to achieve financial freedom. Join the club, baby. We're so excited that you're here because today we are breaking down the top 10 financial freedom secrets that we use and that we have seen our most successful friends and clients use that have really helped them achieve true financial freedom. We're going to be walking through the 10 things that you can implement quite literally today in order to help you do the same thing. Let's dive in. Okay, so step one of getting true financial freedom is knowing what financial freedom even means for you. Lo, I know that this is really a big thing that we talk about all of the time, but I'm curious, what have you found financial freedom to be for you so we can give an example to everybody?
Yeah, I think that starting with the goal in mind is really the biggest objective here. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people just say, I want to be successful
Mhm.
and never define really what that is. So I think being able to set a realistic goal on what you want to hit and have that be able to scale up as you scale your success, but also being able to dream big and know that like going after what you really want is attainable and is achievable. So I think being able to set like the yearly goal of where you're trying to hit and then the long scale of like what is the vision, what is the real goal and mission here
Mhm.
of the long term. Like if you want to be a millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire,
Mhm.
do it, like declare it. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't even get clear on exactly what that is,
Yeah.
or they'll just be so general about it.
Yeah, or really what that even means. I
Yeah.
think for all of us, financial freedom means something different. That some of us, maybe you want to be living in the mansion on the cliffs in Malibu, driving all the big fancy cars and going on all the big fancy vacations. And obviously, financial freedom is going to look very different for you than somebody that's really looking to just kind of live a simple life
Yeah.
and just have more time with their family and not have a big house to take care of, and maybe you just want some chickens or something. Whatever financial freedom looks like for you is what freedom looks like for you, and what does that cost in order for you to achieve that freedom, for how long. This is why getting so specific really matters. Maybe becoming a millionaire actually doesn't allow you financial freedom at all. Maybe that allows you financial freedom for the rest of your life. It comes down to really understanding what you really want at the end of the day and asking yourself that so you understand what financial freedom actually means for you, not just what financial freedom means in general, because I don't even think that's even possible,
Yeah.
because we all have different goals, aspirations, and things that we want in life.
Yeah, and being able to break it down too. I feel like a lot of the times we think that something's so unattainable because it sounds so far fetched, but there's ways to break it down. Like, for example, if you want to fly private,
Mhm.
right? You want a jet. You don't have to buy a jet. You can rent a jet per flight. And being
Mhm.
able to break down those cost factors, it's actually not as shocking as you would think. So it helps make it a lot more realistic. Once you know the actual number of what you're trying to achieve, then you can really go into the plan of how to get there.
Yeah.
But breaking it down first of exactly what you want unapologetically,
Yes.
and then really being able to like lay that out of like, okay, now I would need to hit this much money at this point in time to be able to get to that goal and really be able to be realistic with yourself.
Yeah, because I can definitely say probably my financial freedom looks different than your financial freedom.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about it, because we're
Yeah.
all so different. And the other thing about this is financial freedom is going to change at different points in your life whenever you reach different milestones. I remember whenever I had first moved to LA and I was living in a little bitty room I had rented, and I went to Target and I really just wanted to buy like, I was going through the aisles and I wanted to buy like all these different cute things to make my just little room cute. And I remember like sitting in the aisles of Target, not being able to afford the things that I really wanted. And I was like, man, I know I'm going to make it whenever I can walk into Target and I can buy anything that I want and not even look at the price tag. And I had never been able to do that in my life. And so at that point, that was what true financial freedom meant for me. And I remember when I achieved that, it was so cool. I had moved into, I think, at that point, I moved into my first one bedroom apartment. I had gone from a room to a studio apartment and still not go into Target. It was very, very tight budget. To then I was in my one bedroom apartment, and I remember going into Target and buying anything that I wanted in order to furnish it and put stuff in the kitchen. And to me, at that point, that was true financial freedom. obviously, or maybe not so obviously, financial freedom looks very different for me today. And what I need and what the vision for my life is different than at that point. And so, don't feel like your vision for your life is too small or too big. It's just right for you at this point in time.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. All right, now that you know that you really want, this second secret to achieving true financial freedom is too yummy not to share. This one is one that I love, and I have so many tips around it. It's being able to truly step into really what that version of success looks like for you now, today. Even though you're not living fully the life of financial freedom, you can experience different aspects of it to really help set yourself up for success and stack those habits in order to ultimately get there. So, Lo, break it down for how you do this.
Yeah, I think being able to embody that person you want to become is a huge part of it. And being able to really envision that, right? Like we said, declare it, define it, get clear on what the goal is, but then also be able to make little steps into that becoming that person right now. So that can be something as simple as upgrading your wardrobe, dressing like that person that you know that you want to become, that successful entrepreneur or whatever you want to step into, being able to embody it right now through clothing, through even like a new perfume. That really helps
I was gonna
me
say
like shift, like
that
scent.
is mine.
Yeah.
I have, I get the luxury perfumes, and it's, it feels like a true luxury to say, oh, like I have this thing, and then you spray it and people can smell it on you, and you can smell it on yourself and really embody that. I love that one.
Yeah, it's like a five senses thing, I think. It's like kind of
Yeah.
on every level, being able to really kind of break it down for yourself of what that feels like, what that looks like, and then how you really show up in that way. And I think that it really can be as simple as a perfume or as upgrading your clothing, but also it can be who you're hanging out with, the language that you're speaking, even like what you're telling yourself. I think that's a big part of up leveling. And being able to really upgrade your language and upgrade your external environment too, I think all plays into kind of that momentum that you start to build.
Yeah, the questions to ask yourself: how would that version of myself show up today? If you ask yourself just that simple question, that can be the thing that can really help you into identifying maybe some of these little tips and tricks that are going to work for you too. So a question that you could ask yourself right now today is: how would the financially free version of myself show up today? What would she be wearing? What would she smell like? What perfume would she be wearing? Who would she be surrounding herself? What language would she be using? Like Lo mentioned, what are these different things that she would do? Ask yourself that simple question, write down everything that shows up, and then choose maybe just one that you could do today that could help move the needle to ultimately achieving financial freedom of showing up as that person today. All right, the third secret, now that you have identified what it is that you want for financial freedom, you know how you're going to step into that version of yourself today. Now it's time to get technical. How are you going to stop trading just your time for money? This is how you really think about scale. Lo, how do you consider this?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to go about this, obviously. Depending on what you do, being able to delegate, I think is one of the biggest ones. Be able to really identify like what you enjoy doing and what you don't, which goes into delegation. And being able to really automate. Now with technology and everything being such at our fingertips, it's so easy to be able to scale and automate a lot of different things I think we were doing manually before. So I think being able to do an audit of where your time is being spent is really helpful to be able to see kind of where you can kind of start to do some of those things.
Ooh, I love that. Like one little way that you can start implementing today to build to financial freedom is just understanding where you are today.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's some of the biggest. It's
Yeah.
like the clarity that comes with that is how you move forward fast.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I know, and a lot of people that we have worked with and that truly have the financial freedom, they know where their time goes.
Yeah.
They're very careful with where their time is being spent and making sure that they can like duplicate or quadruple that time spent into something that is giving them back, something that's maybe even 10x.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Being able to really identify like where your time is best being spent, like you just said, of being able to really see where that return is coming from, and then also seeing like where you need to pull back.
Yeah, I think that can be a really amazing first move, everybody. And then whenever you're thinking about, okay, I've audited my time now, then you can start thinking about how much time you do have in order to spend to build these passive income streams. And maybe this could be investing in the stock market, or
Right.
maybe it could be building a digital course that is just making money for you on the back end. Thinking about these different ways for what works best for you, your lifestyle, your goals is where you can ultimately use this as a secret towards success for your financial freedom.
Yeah, so I feel like for business owners, there's a lot of different tools and tips you can use to kind of start to delegate a lot of that. But even for the average person who maybe is working a 9 to 5, think about the things that you do in your personal life that you don't like doing, like laundry or cooking, cleaning, things like that you can easily outsource. And if you could spend your time 10xing your revenue streams, that's where your money and your time is going to be better spent.
Yeah. So, like, if you are spending X amount of time cleaning your house and hating every minute of it, and you're like, gosh, I just can't wait to not have to clean my house or do my laundry or do these different tasks that really take up a lot of time. And instead, you could outsource that to somebody else, hire that in little micro ways that you can afford right now. This is also, by the way, showing up in probably the way that you want to be achieving true financial freedom. And so this is a good habit stacking towards that. And then instead of spending your time with that cleaning, you could spend your time learning a new skill. You could spend your time building something. You could spend your time investing in something. And these could be ways that would ultimately free you up in order to achieve the full financial freedom that you really want. All right. The next secret is one you might end up hating me for, but I promise it is going to help you achieve full financial freedom. This tip is about treating your money like it is an actual team member on your team of life, treating it like a best friend, treating it like something that you want to invest into in order for it to grow and expand in the way that really you want and that you desire. So, Lo, how is your feeling about how do you treat like your money like your best friend, or how did you end up getting there? Was it hard?
Yeah, I think it's been a process, right? I think everyone has such an emotional relationship and tie to money. And so much of that goes back to your childhood of how you were raised, how you were kind of taught to spend money, to save money, just how you were taught to handle money in general. So I think a lot of people growing up, once they reach adulthood, they're like, okay, now I'm making money. What do I do with this, right? How do I be responsible with this? How do I maximize it? And I think it's this ongoing relationship. And I love calling it like your best team member or your best friend, because it is kind of this energy that is always ebb and flowing, right? Energy is always coming and going. But I think being able to look at it in a really positive and healthy way versus a stressful lack way is a big part of the energetics around money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it takes getting really comfortable with your numbers to get to that point.
Totally. It's thinking about if you want anything to grow, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes patience. And you can't ignore something that you actually want to grow.
Yeah.
So if you want your money to grow, you can treat it like your best friend. If you want that relationship to grow, you're going to spend a lot of time with one another. You're going to spend a lot of time understanding one another, what they like, what they don't like. And so that relationship can build. Or if you have a house plant, right? If
Yeah.
you ignore it, obviously it's going to die. It's not going to flourish. And if you really want it to grow and build into something that's really strong, then you have to spend the time understanding what it needs.
Yeah.
And then actually giving it that too. So
Yeah.
the mindset around this, I think, is so critical, because I see so many people that ignore it. They don't want to even look at their bank account. They don't even want to understand where they're at all, because if they understood it, then maybe it would scare them. But
Right.
if it scares you, maybe it's a good thing
Yeah.
to step into that, because that means you're actually growing.
Yeah, it's
too.
definitely something that if you're feeling the resistance against, to lean into even harder. And I think the more comfortable you get with that relationship, right, of building that, of nurturing that, adding the deposits, and even if that's a small thing, like just checking your bank account every single morning and tracking where your money's going, like simple things like that can really add to that relationship that you're building with money. And I think also going back to our very first identifier of like really getting clarity on what financial freedom and success means to you. Because I think a lot of people just go through life kind of aimlessly, not really identifying that and getting clear on it. And then they end up not feeling quote unquote successful. And it's because they haven't gotten clear with what that means. And then they haven't gotten clear with nurturing that every day, the small deposits that get them to that place.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
Deposits energetically, not just financially, can build up to getting you to ultimately what you want. I know whenever I really started seeing like success financially was whenever I was spending a lot of time looking at the numbers. I would build spreadsheets around it. I would understand every single dollar that went in and out and what buckets it did. I would analyze, maybe I shouldn't have spent that money there because I didn't get the return I wanted. I wouldn't do that again, but here is what I would optimize, really spending time with it. I mean, at the beginning when I first started doing it, I was spending hours in these spreadsheets just trying to understand, build, make decisions, cancel things, grow things. And now I don't have to spend as much time doing that same task. Now I'm spending time looking at different opportunities for growth, but it was a good stepping stone in order to help me just understand it. Because at first I was like, I don't really understand QuickBooks in the way that I want to. I don't understand those reports in the way that I want to, but I understand this spreadsheet that I built and I can start there and then grow into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Having systems that support you and then also having like routines built into those systems.
Yes.
So like a Money Monday or whatever, like have a set day at least once or twice a week where you're checking in with all of your bookkeeping, all your systems, everything that you kind of need to feel on top of it. And then obviously managing the day-to-day stuff too, but having those kind of systems in place for when it does get busy, things are happening quickly, that you're able to kind of rely on that system that's already working for you.
Totally. Okay, secret number 5. We already kind of were getting into with the last secret, but this one I think is so critical. It's setting specific dates on your calendars for looking at your money. This is a secret you definitely don't want to skip over because this is what is going to hold you accountable to take action.
Yeah, having definitely a system in place and having those dates to check in on, like we were saying, that schedule, it helps the consistency and it helps you build. And I think also as you start building a team, it helps kind of build that structure for the team as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one of our clients before she implemented Money Mondays or another one implemented like CEO week every quarter where they really looked at all of their finances. And that was the thing that was like a non-negotiable meeting for them. And I thought that was so smart.
Yeah, I think being able to work with what works for you, right? I think whether that's a daily check-in, a weekly check-in, a big overall like monthly check-in or all of the above. I mean, being able to have that system that can really work with you. And that also is taking the stress off your plate and not adding more to it. Because I think sometimes it can be really overwhelming, right? Going back to the emotion with money. Being able to have those kind of systems in place that really support you and empower you.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, this is something that you can look at for your personal finances or something and something for your business finances. So you can look at this in every area of your life and see how you can implement. So maybe your meeting with for your personal finances is maybe with your personal bookkeeper, or maybe it's just with your spouse, or it's with somebody that you really hold dear, that can hold you accountable, that you trust. And then in your business, you implement the same thing. So this can be for both areas of your life and any area that you're really trying to build your finances in. All right, secret number 6. This is one that is always changing and one of the hardest ones to nail down in my opinion. But once you do, so much stress is lifted off. This is knowing how to not overspend and not how to underspend as well whenever you're coming to your finances and your money. If you want to reach true financial freedom, it is going to take risk. It's going to take risk in sometimes spending a little bit more in order to get a bigger return, and knowing when to pull back so that you don't get into a hole with your finances. Overall, I've had a lot of learning lessons in this department, but I'm curious how you feel about that, Lo.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is trial and error for everyone, right? So don't feel bad if you're going through it right now.
Yeah.
And I think that it is something that you have to kind of go back to the inventory of like, where are you needing more time, right? Where are you needing to put more time? Where are you needing to pull back more time? And I think that kind of starts to lay the groundwork of where your money should be spent, of what you're really needing support with, what are going to be the things that really drive engagement and sales, and really where's your time best spent? And where do you feel good doing it too?
Yes.
It kind of comes into, I feel like the money spent goes hand in hand with like your time spent.
Yeah. And sometimes this is hard and this takes time to understand, which is why it is so difficult to understand where you should spend your money or not spend your money in order to achieve a bigger return. And I don't think anybody has it perfectly figured out. But as long as you have a pulse on it, this is what can really help you. Having data checkpoints, having these meetings, having the spreadsheets or the ways that you understand where you are or are not spending your money, I think is what really helps you to learn from the data and to re-implement. So that you said, well, I spent a lot of money in this area maybe last year, and I thought it was going to get me here, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't want to spend that much money. I want to try to reinvest somewhere else that I think will get me a bigger return. And you can make those smart decisions that will ultimately get you to where you want to be eventually.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like that, like A/B testing of seeing
Yeah,
what really works when you try it out.
totally.
But it's constant trial and error.
Totally. The next tip is something that I think we learned early on that was really critical to our own success. And it was learning how to walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to finances, and then building a team around you that can walk that walk and talk that talk with you and help you expand your own knowing. But don't go into trying to build financial freedom while trying to stay away from the actual learning of it. Take it
Yeah.
all in and then build a really strong team around you. Lo, I know we went through some of these learnings together,
Yeah.
but what was your take on that? That was kind of how I felt on it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think one of the biggest things that I took away from it too, of just building multiple businesses now, is really understanding every part of your business
Yes.
before you start to delegate.
Yes.
Because even if you understand that someone can do the job better, still understand exactly what the job is first. Being able to really know what that entails, and it'll help you be a better manager of that person once you do start to hire on your teams. But I think being able to understand all areas of your business first before you start delegating out pieces. I think a lot of people just jump into what they naturally love. And then they're like, oh, like accounting, bookkeeping, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I'll hire someone to do the finances. Oh, like maybe creative, I can't do that. I'll hire someone to do the social. Like being able to really understand it, even if you're not going to necessarily be doing it, I
Yeah.
think is really a key part of the learning for any business.
Yeah, it's being able to set yourself up for success so that you even know the right questions to ask. You know the right metrics to look at.
Yeah.
You know when to catch somebody when they may be pulling your leg a little bit, and not helping set you up for ultimate success of where you're going. And by you knowing that information first and doing your research, and you're like, well, I don't even know what to do your research.
Yeah.
Just start asking the questions and really getting clear on what the answers are that you really resonate with, that really feel true to you. And so you can build a strong team around you of bookkeepers and accountants and people that really do this every single day and love it, but that you're not on the outside of that circle. You're
Right.
definitely on the inside making the decisions with them.
Yeah, absolutely. You're leading the show. You're not just like a participant in it.
Absolutely. All right. Doesn't it feel so good to be getting all these secrets in your head that you know how to take action on so that you can too achieve financial freedom for whatever that looks like in your life? I just love talking about money, honey. All right. This next one is all about diversification. So if you have now figured out the secret of how to multiply your time and not just be trading time for money, then you're in a really good place. However, if you only have one way of doing that and something happens, then everything could be come crumbling down, which is not a good place to be in either. So diversification is so important. Lo, whenever you think about diversification, what are some different ways that we could look at this?
Yeah, I think about definitely the pillars within your business, right? And it can start with like your core pillar of what you're offering, right? Whether that's a service or whether it's a product, that core offering is kind of like the main pillar. But it really is important to have the other pillars standing strong with it, because if you just have one and something goes wrong, then you are kind of left with nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to diversify, and you can do that in terms of building out like a digital product, being able to, expand into a lot of different ways. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would say digital products is probably an easiest one to start
Mm-hmm.
with, being
Yes.
able to expand in what you're already doing and create like a course or a product that comes from it.
Mhm.
I think also being able to expand your product line or whatever you're
Mhm.
already offering into kind of a next category.
Yep.
Being able to really think about it from all angles. It's always different based on the business, but I
Mhm.
think being able to really get creative with how clients are going to need your solution, like what problem you're really filling and the gap that you're filling,
Mhm.
and then getting creative with your solution of how you can serve that.
Yeah, I think about this as like creating an ecosystem
Yeah.
of like an ecosystem of offers that all really work well together and that can serve different outcomes for ultimately what your clients are trying to achieve. Or maybe there's different ways that you can help them achieve that. And you can look at this and say, what are all the different ways? I'm maybe doing it in this one way right now, but how else could I look at this? This could even be personally if you're like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm investing in the stock market, but maybe I want to invest in real estate and I want to invest in a business too. So you're diversifying the outcomes of potential. So if for some reason the stock market goes down tomorrow, you still have money in real estate and maybe a different business that you're building. That there's still opportunity for growth, and you're not just kind of left in the dust whenever it comes to your finances and building that true financial freedom that you're looking for. Okay, we're almost there. Secret number 9 is probably one of the most important secrets for you to take action on. Secret number 9 is proximity. What we mean by proximity is who you surround yourself with is the sum of who you will become. So if you want true financial freedom, you need to be surrounding yourself with people that also aspire to have financial freedom themselves or already have financial freedom too. How have you seen this play out in your life, Lo?
Yeah. I mean, I think it plays out in so many levels, right? From the people you surround yourself with, like friends, family, all of that,
Yeah.
but then into your business of the team that you're building. And then also all the way up into like your mentors and like who you look up to and aspire to be one day.
Yes.
And so I think being able to have those circles very tight in the sense of like you're very intentional about the people you're spending time with, the people you're surrounding yourself with. Like you said, it really does add up to who you become. And so looking at kind of each area of your life and kind of taking inventory in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I always am looking at how others are and how they're helping me grow into who I want to be. So a lot of the times, if you're looking at the sum of the people around you and you're like, "Ugh, they're always doing this thing that just doesn't feel aligned with where I'm going. Or maybe they're the ones that's always pulling out the credit card and swiping the credit card and maxing it out. And you're like, I know that isn't what's ultimately going to get me to where I want to go. So I don't want to surround myself with that and start making that maybe a habit that I pick up along the way too. You want people that are filling their minds with knowledge, that are really looking to achieve betterment of their life, because ultimately that's going to rub off on you for you to do the same thing as well. Learning from others that have take different paths and journeys to get to where they are so that you can learn and grow too is only going to have a positive effect on the overall outcome of where you get to in life and ultimately what you achieve.
Yeah, I feel like an easy test with it is to look at if somebody is draining your battery or charging your battery. And
Mm.
you know kind of right away if somebody is a battery drainer or battery charger.
Yeah, I look at it, I'm like, am I looking forward to spending
Yeah,
time with this person? Or am I saying, oh, I can only handle that person in
right,
little bitty doses? Why am I even giving them little bitty doses if
right.
it doesn't ultimately help me grow? And this might feel kind of selfish at first. It did a little bit for me
Hmm.
because I am a people pleaser to the max. Like, I really want the best for others. I want to give more than I receive. But it was really a big mindset shift of saying, actually, what are they contributing to my life,
Yeah.
to the outcome of what I want, and making sure that I'm only giving a certain, handful of people that I feel like fit that agenda access to me. And that's a privilege. All right. Now are you thinking, okay, what is secret number 10? What else could I do in order to achieve true financial freedom? And I know I keep saying this one's important. No, this one's really important. The reason why I say it is because truly they all play together. They're all very important to helping you achieve the financial freedom that you want in your life. Now, here's the difference. Here is secret number 10. Action. Not just thinking about it, not just dreaming about it. It's taking all of these tools, it's taking all of these secrets, it's taking all of this advice and actually taking action on implementing it in your life.
Yeah, action and consistency, right?
Yes.
It's like being able to consistently act upon what you're trying to build. And sometimes it feels like you're just like lost deep in the forest, right? You can't see the way out. You're in such the thick of it. You're
Lost in the sauce.
lost in the sauce. Like, I feel like so many people hit that wall of they're like, oh, is this even working? Like, is this even what I want to do anymore? And it's the consistency past that point, right? It's like that threshold of once you're able to kind of make the steps past and keep going past the point where everyone usually gives up, that's where you start to see the real results. And you know it's about to up level you, like the universe, God, whatever you want to say. You're about to get up leveled if you hit the most tests. Like, I feel like right before you're going through kind of that transition, that you are faced with the most tests that are going to like push you and challenge you in ways that you can't even believe. But being able to take that consistent action, even through the thick of the woods, even through the lost in the sauce, of being able to get back on track and stay on your path, that's what leads to true success.
Absolutely. I see so many people, they will watch these videos on YouTube. They will take in this course and that course and this thing and that thing and feel like that's the thing that's actually going to get them the life that they desire, the financial freedom that they desire. That could be a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But I think the actual formula for doing it is your own action, your own learning, the own data that you are receiving in order to ultimately get you to the place that you want to be, because you are unique. You are special in a way that it takes building your own formula to understand what that is. So although these are secrets that I think apply to every single person, it's how you apply them that makes it stand out, and consistently doing it, not just one time.
Yeah. And making it fun. Like, don't forget to have fun along the way. Don't get so caught up in like the work and that it's hard, and be careful of the narratives you tell yourself along the way too, because it is what you tell yourself. And the more you can empower yourself and make sure that it's fun, even when you are going through the thick of it, that you're still enjoying what you do, that helps build onto that consistency in the action.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are this far along, bravo to you.
Well done.
Well done. We're really proud of you, honestly, because this means you're really invested in your success. You're really invested in understanding what does it take in order to achieve full financial freedom. And if you have all of these secrets locked in and you're committed to them, I promise you are well on your way to achieving it.